Hi everybody, it's Janae Canis. Welcome back to Lectin Free Solutions. I'm here today with another Plant Paradox and ApoE4 friendly recipe. A lot of you have asked me if I could come up with an egg-free version of the almond psyllium rolls. So that's what we're going to do today. I worked on this recipe on and off trying to get it where I like the texture of it. I started actually having to use only egg yolks for myself because I'm allergic now to egg whites. And it does work with egg yolks. You need a lot of them, but it's a lot denser roll. So I completely eliminated the eggs and I am using my homemade yogurt. I'm going to show you how to make that yogurt today, and it's very, very simple. I start off with one of these glass containers, and before you do anything, what you want to do is pour boiling water into the container and let it sit there for about 10 minutes. Pour that out, and then all you're going to do is get a can of full-fat coconut milk, whatever variety you like. I happen to buy the Thai Kitchen Organic at Costco. Comes in a 6-pack. It's easy for me to pick up. All we're going to do is pour that whole can into this glass container. Okay, to this full can of coconut, we're going to add 2 capsules of any probiotics that you like. These happen to be PB8. I sometimes use the Gundry MD. Sometimes I use the Jarrow, I think it's Jarrow Digestive Enzyme. It really doesn't matter. They all work fine. The only difference is they give you a little bit different flavor. But you know what? I don't really eat this. I mostly cook with it. So you'll have to experiment and see which one you like the best. So what you do is you saw me sprinkle those in. Just take a little whisk. Make sure that you mix it up. And if the coconut has lumps in it, which sometimes it does, just keep working it until you get all of the lumps out. Okay, that's it. What I do then is take a clean tea towel and I put it over the top of it, and I set this aside generally by my stove. And I let it sit there for 2 days, unrefrigerated. And then after that period of time, this is what you end up with, is a nice creamy yogurt. So one thing I will tell you is, depending upon the weather, sometimes it turns out really thick and sometimes it turns out thinner. It really doesn't matter. It still will work for this recipe. So the egg replacement is going to be, it's not really a full cup of yogurt. I'll show you about where I go on this. It's a little more than 3/4 of a cup. And then what I do is I top that up with olive oil until I have a full cup measure. And that's it. Okay, so now I'll go through the ingredient list. It's actually very similar to the original almond psyllium flour roll, but it has coconut instead of the hemp hearts. So we're going to add this to the bowl. We have 2 cups of blanched almond flour, finely ground. We have a 1/2 cup of organic coconut flour. We have 10 tablespoons of psyllium, just like the other recipe. We have 4 teaspoons of baking powder. We have 1 teaspoon of salt. And to this, I'm going to add the 2 liquid ingredients after I get these mixed up a little bit. I just want to mix all the dry ingredients so we don't have any lumps of baking powder. That's always nasty. Okay, now that we've got the dry ingredients together, we're going to put the yogurt, olive oil, and the 4 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar into this mix. We'll give this a quick mix to dampen it. Incorporate those. And then we're going to pour in now that that's pretty well blended together, we're going to pour in 2 full cups of boiling water. We'll mix that for somewhere between 1 minute and 2 minutes. Now, like I've mentioned before, when this dough is complete, you can decide to rest it for a few minutes, maybe 10-15 minutes, or not. Some people say that they think that the psyllium helps absorb more water if it has a chance to sit. And since we're using yogurt as a replacement for egg, you might want to consider doing that for maybe 10 minutes. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I don't see a great deal of difference. And we've got a nice dough. It's complete. All right, now the other thing that I want to mention to you, I'm going to divide this dough into about 16 or 17 different rolls, which is a lot more than what I do for the original recipe. Generally, I make 12 to 13. I think that these have there's less of a chance for them to collapse if they're smaller. The other thing I want you to do is cook these for a full 45 minutes and leave them in the oven until your oven is completely cold. Don't take them out, don't open the oven, and you'll have perfect success. So that's what we're going to do now is let this dough rest, and then we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Okay, we had our little rest time for 10 minutes, and I must have been very miserly today because I ended up with actually 20 rolls, which will be fine. You know, as you know, these rolls puff up quite a bit, so it'll be fine, and then we won't have any worry of them collapsing. So now we're going to bake them in a 350 oven for 45 minutes, and as I mentioned, don't take them out, just let them stay in there until later, a couple hours later, until the oven is completely cool, and they'll be wonderful. All right, we are back with our cooled down egg-free almond flour rolls, and as I mentioned, I made 20 out of this batch, and they're very nice and small, which is great for what I want to use them for. Now, normally when I make these, I usually get maybe 16 or 17, so they'd be a little bit larger than this. Even though you make them smaller, I still cook them for the whole 45 minutes. The outside ends up a little, I want to say kind of like a French bread where it has a bit of a crust. And then when you cut them, the inside is really nice and soft. You can see it's just like a regular bread. So what we're going to do with these is tonight we're going to use them for our olive tapenade and also for some of the sardine pate and vegetables. It's still hot here, so we're having very cool light dinners. I hope you'll give this a try. One other thing that I did want to mention is that in the directions this morning, I gave you a half a cup of coconut flour. And you can either do it that way, or the other option is to use 1/3 of a cup of coconut flour and 1/4 of a cup of hemp hearts. So I'll have that typed up in the written directions. And some of you have asked me for a written recipe. We are going to be having a link to our website page. It's not finished being constructed yet. But in the meantime, if you click on the name or the description of the video, the description of the food, it will open up a completely typed recipe so that you can copy it from there. You don't actually have to take a screenshot or try and print the black background recipe that's in the video. I hope that helps. Okay, thank you again for all of your support. Please like and subscribe while you're here so that I can make more content like this for you. Have a good one.